Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever stopped and wondered about all the amazing stuff we make on our computers and tablets? The drawings, the stories, the photos. Well, today we're going to go on a little adventure to find out what all that digital stuff is really made of.
Seriously, think about it for a second. When you snap a really cool photo or type out a secret note, it has to go somewhere, right? It doesn't just vanish into thin air, it needs a home. But where in the world does it go? And how does it all fit? That's the big mystery we're going to solve together.
So we're going to follow a few of our digital creations on an epic quest to find their perfect home. We're going to discover homes that are super tiny, some that are pretty big, and even some that are, well, absolutely gigantic. Let's see what fits where. This is going to be fun. All right, our journey begins with the smallest, most basic piece of digital stuff you can find, the byte. The best way to think about a byte is like a single, tiny building block. I mean everything, and I mean everything you see on a screen is built using tons of these little guys. So just how tiny is a byte? Well, if you type one letter, say the letter A, that's exactly 1 byte. Or if you type a number, like 7, yep, that's 1 byte too. It's the perfect little home for just one single character. Let's imagine a byte is like a tiny little pocket. It's so small it can really only hold one thing at a time, like one single letter. It's the very first stop on our quest, and the starting point for everything else we're about to see. Okay, but what if you want to write a whole word or a sentence? You're definitely going to need a bigger home than one tiny pocket. So say hello to the kilobyte, or KB for short. A kilobyte is basically a bigger home made of 1,000 of those tiny byte pockets all joined together.
So, what kind of stuff can you fit inside a kilobyte? Well, you could probably squeeze in a few paragraphs of a story or maybe a small, simple little icon like you'd see on a website. As you can see, it has a lot more room to play with than a single byte.
So if a byte is that tiny little pocket, then a kilobyte is kind of like a lunchbox. It's the perfect size for packing up a short note or a little story to send to a friend. But what about something even bigger? Like, what about your favorite song? A lunchbox is definitely not going to work for that. For something that big, you're going to need a megabyte or MB. Now get this, a megabyte is a home as big as 1,000 of those kilobyte lunchboxes. So what kind of digital stuff needs a megabyte-sized home? Well, a typical song is usually around 3 to 5 megabytes. And a really nice, high-quality photo that you take with a phone, that's about the same size too. Okay, so if a kilobyte is our lunchbox, a megabyte is like a backpack. It's big enough to carry around your favorite songs or a whole bunch of your coolest pictures. Pretty useful, right? All right, hold on, because things are about to get a lot bigger. What if you want to save something huge, like an entire movie? You'll need something way, way bigger than a backpack. You'll need a gigabyte or GB, and a gigabyte is as big as 1,000 of those megabyte backpacks. Whoa. A whole feature-length movie can usually fit inside just one single gigabyte. And you know those awesome modern video games with amazing graphics? They are so massive they need many gigabytes of space. For the really big stuff, you need a really big home. So, following our analogy, if a megabyte is a backpack, then a gigabyte is like a giant toy chest. It's this huge container that's big enough to store a whole movie for you to watch anytime you want. And just when you thought we couldn't possibly get any bigger, oh, we do. The biggest home on our entire tour is the terabyte, or TB. It is an absolutely enormous space that can hold 1,000 of those huge gigabyte toy chests. Just let that number sink in for a minute. 1,000. That's how many of those giant, movie-filled toy chests can fit inside this next digital home. It's mind-boggling, really. That's right, 1,000 of those giant toy chests, each one packed with a movie, all fitting inside one single terabyte. To put it another way, that's enough space for about 250,000 photos. Wow. Okay, so we know there are all these different sized homes for our digital stuff, but that brings up a really good question. Why does a photo need a backpack while a single letter fits perfectly in a tiny pocket? Why isn't everything just the same size? Well, it really boils down to 3 main things. We can call them the wrapper, the details, and the squeezer. Let's break down what each of those means. First up is the wrapper, which is just its format. So a plain, simple note only needs to save the letters themselves, just the basics. But a fancy document has to save the letters, Plus, all the extra stuff like cool fonts, different sizes, and bright colors. All those extras make the home it needs way bigger. Next are the details, which is really about its quality. Think about it. A super clear photo with millions of tiny colorful dots is going to need a much bigger home than a blurry photo with fewer dots. It's a simple rule. More details always means you need more space. So there you have it, your very own digital toolbox. You've got the tiny pocket of a byte, the lunchbox of a kilobyte, the backpack of a megabyte, the toy chest of a gigabyte, and yeah, the whole city that is a terabyte. And that's our quest. Now you know the secrets behind all your digital stuff. Understanding how big things are is like having a superpower. You can organize your photos, your school projects, and your games like a total pro. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you know exactly how to pack and organize your digital world, what amazing things are you going to create? What stories will you tell? The digital world is your playground. Go have fun with it.